Before anyone ever cracked a vault, we had to invent something far more dangerous than crime. A reason to commit one. We didn't create robbery. We built a world that made it possible. Before someone could rob a bank, there had to be banks. And before banks, there had to be something even rarer: trust. Because storing value is one thing, but entrusting someone else with that value, that was humanity's boldest financial leap. Let's rewind 4,000 years. Ancient Mesopotamia. The city of hums with trade, barley, textiles, silver. But inside the towering temples, something new is happening. People leave silver and grain not as offerings, but for safekeeping. Why? Because the temple was more than sacred. It was strong. It wasn't just a place of worship. It was a proto-bank. And the priests? The world's first bankers. Inside those temples, there were no pens, no spreadsheets, just clay tablets etched by hand. You might deposit 30 shekels of silver, 5 sacks of grain, a family heirloom. In return, a tablet, sealed by a priest's mark. Not just mud, a contract, a promise. But here's the twist. You couldn't bribe the priest, you couldn't hack the tablet, and you couldn't argue with the gods. Security wasn't enforced by walls. It was enforced by faith. Trust wasn't written into law. It was carved into belief. By 1800 BCE in Babylon, temples evolved into financial hubs. Merchant families loaned silver, charged interest, even issued promissory notes across cities. Deposit in one city, withdraw in another. A miracle of trust and a network of power. But something darker followed. What if someone broke that trust? What if someone took what was supposed to be safe? Banking wasn't just about storing anymore. It was about protecting the target you just created. In 600 BCE, ancient Greece, temples still hold some deposits. But now, private money lenders emerge in the open, the trapezitai. They operate from stalls, homes, marketplaces. They hold deposits, exchange currency, issue loans, and keep ledgers. But here's the shift. These banks weren't divine. They were human and fallible. Now, a robbery wasn't just possible. It made sense. Rome perfected it. The Argentarii, the Mensari, the Numulari, each serving as silversmith bankers, public fund handlers, coin testers. The Roman elite trusted them with fortunes. Emperors used them to finance wars. Merchants ran shipping empires with their help. Banking became the engine of the empire. But every engine has a weakness. In Pompeii, we found a banker's house, Lucius Caecilius Jucundus. His ledgers were carved on wax and tablet. Now imagine, someone breaks in, steals the records, and burns the seals. That's not just theft. That's economic identity gone. This was the psychological birth of the bank heist. So, why does any of this matter? Well, because robbery only makes sense when wealth is centralized. 1 million coins in 1 million pockets, that's useless to a thief. But 1 million coins in one vault? That's a plan. To protect wealth, society concentrated it. But concentration breeds exposure, and exposure breeds temptation. By the 13th century, banking exploded across Europe. Florence, Genoa, Venice. Enter the Bardi, the Peruzzi, the Medici. They weren't hiding coins under beds. They ran branches, used bills of exchange, pioneered double entry accounting. Banking became a profession, not a sacred act. But resentment grew. The poor called them parasites. The kings owed them debt. And the people, they knew exactly where the money was kept. And when resentment meets a locked vault, you don't just get a robbery, you get a revolution. And by the late Middle Ages, banks were no longer sacred. They were fortified. Vaults beneath stone buildings, iron gates, armed guards, hidden compartments. Gold moved behind caravans of mercenaries. The bank had become a machine of capital, but also a perfect target. Because the more you protect something, the more you prove it's worth stealing. So, what had to exist before someone could even dream of robbing a bank? The bank had to change. It had to stop being a temple and start being a business. It had to hold not just money, but power, records, secrets, dreams of those who would never hold the keys. It had to become a symbol, not just of security, but of inequality, a challenge. The modern bank is a marvel, but it also created something else, a single door, behind which lies everything you ever wanted, and all you have to do is open it. A coin could buy a kingdom or end a life, and as wealth poured in, so did anxiety. We couldn't leave treasure in the open anymore. So we built walls, locks, vaults, and guards, not just to protect the money, but to protect the illusion that I was ever truly safe.